kingdom people, they cannot handle your growth. Listen, there are people that you know, that you've been knowing or used to know. But there are also people that you don't really know like that. And they are aware of your growth. Now, for those that you knew, that you were obviously in relationships with at one point or had some kind of dealings with, well, they see your growth and they're having a hard time with it. And you may ask, well, why would someone have a hard time with your growth? I used to ask that. I used to have this question where I would feel like if someone chooses whatever path they choose or make certain decisions and this is what it is for them and this is it, they should be okay with that and not try to get in the way of someone else who wants to do more, who wants to grow, who wants to do things different, who wants to go higher, if you will. And so what I've come to learn is the reason why they can't just be okay with you growing, even though they chose what they chose to not grow, or just, I want to say grow to a minimum, but is that really growth? Because growth has no limit. Not really. Well, what I've come to learn is the reason why they have a problem with your growth is because they choose not to grow. You may wonder, why would someone choose not to grow? Well, I'll answer that. Some people choose not to grow because it takes work. You probably knew I was going to say that. It also takes accountability. It also takes facing yourself, confronting yourself, your issues, things you don't like about yourself, things that's not okay with you, things that you need to change. A lot of the reason why people don't grow is because they don't want to change. Growth requires change. In fact, as you're growing, you're changing. And many people don't want that change. We've heard people are in their comfort zones. That's where they're comfortable at. And they're comfortable in their comfort zones because it's familiar and they don't have to do much. It don't ruffle their feathers. They're complacent where they are. And that's comfortable for them. Because again, people like this don't want to grow. And so your growth reflects back to them what they're not doing. Now, oftentimes we experience attacks from people. We experience people trying to sabotage us and block us and all those things. And for the most part, it's because they don't want to grow. They see your growth. They see you working to grow. And, you know, for these people that you know or knew, in their mind, they don't want you to leave them or get ahead of them, move past them, and in some ways be better than them. Now, while you're not thinking like that, they are. And I often say, when people have that mentality where they don't want you to do more than them, be in a better place than them, whatever the case may be, I often say it don't take much. Because again, these kind of people are often complacent, but they want to seem above you, not only in their eyes, but in the eyes of others. And so they can't handle your growth because you actually put in the work and you did it. And you may be one that came from a place where you had a lot of things to work through. You know, who you are today is nothing like who you were before some years ago. It's called growth. It's called growth. And to be honest, kingdom people, we're supposed to grow. Not growing, resisting growth is going against the natural order that has been set in motion for human beings, for humanity. So when people resist growth and they don't want to grow, they're going against the way God, the Creator, intended for us to grow. You didn't do that. You may have had your challenges. Of course you did. It's not a may. You have had your challenges, your obstacles. You had to figure things out. A lot of trial and error. That's life. That's growth. But you kept going. You kept pushing forward. In fact, you grow on purpose. And they can't handle that because they don't have the courage to do that. Now, why would it take courage to grow? Because again, kingdom people, I'm going to say it like this. It's no fun. You have to confront yourself. You have to acknowledge certain things. Listen, you know how they say the truth hurts? Well, the truth don't hurt people that like to grow, that want to grow. It don't hurt them. It only hurts people that don't want to grow. They don't want to hear the truth. That's why it hurts. Thus, they can't grow. They won't grow. That's why they don't want to hear anything that would trigger growth, because they don't want to grow. It's like they're allergic to growth. And so you, on the other hand, you welcome truth. You welcome seeing yourself, seeing error, seeing things that need to change, because you want to grow. Even the scriptures say a fool hates wisdom. And what is it? A noble person loves truth, something like that. But the scripture tell us a fool hates wisdom. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that mess. And if you try to, it's mess to them. We know it's not mess, but that's how what it is to them. Because I'm hearing that it disturbs their demons. The demons don't want to hear the truth. Duh. So, kingdom people, your growth reflects back to them their lack of growth. And they having a hard time handling your growth. Now, on the other hand, it's people that you don't really know like that. They see your growth, and like I said, they don't know you like that, so they don't know where you came from to who you are now. But they know, they recognize your growth just based on how you operate. You know how sometimes, we kind of say how people call themselves sizing us up and think they finna do they want to, where they do that based on what they think they know, what they're accustomed to. And oftentimes what they do, the reason why they size people up so they can plot and know how to toy with them, so to speak, this is what they do. And so it's always worked for them. But when it came to you, it didn't work. They didn't get the same responses or, results they were looking for. And so, of course, they watch you and study you some more because they realize it's something different with you. Well, what they see is your growth. They just didn't see the process. But they know it's something different about you simply because you're something different than what they're accustomed to. They are aware too, you're something different than what they are. Now they understand, they come to understand that you are a person who grows. You are a person who puts in the work. You are a person who learns. You are a person who gains wisdom and knowledge, and you execute that wisdom. You walk in that wisdom. They understand this because they study you. They see it. And they have a hard time with your growth because it points out to them too. that they are not growing. See, again, you are a reflection of what they haven't done and aren't doing and don't want to do, unfortunately. See, a lot of times people just want to do something on the outside, so they can appear a certain way or even gain certain things. But it's an inner job. That's why people mimic you, try to copy you, try to do what they see you do because they want the results that they see. The issue is what they see is growth. You can't copy someone's growth. You have to actually grow. It's an inner job. It's an inner work. It's a looking at yourself. It's a healing even process that you have to go through. It's a mindset shift continuously. It's a journey. And so you can't mimic that. You have to actually do that. So that's why when they try to copy what they see you doing and they don't get the results that you get, they realize, oh, this is something else going on. This is something that this person know. They understand you know something. And even when they watch you and study you, they do come to terms with the fact that you walk in some kind of knowing and some kind of understanding. Furthermore, they are very aware you walk in a knowing of who you are. And see, they lack that and they know that. They know it because they see you doing it. And these are the kind of people that compare themselves anyway. This is just what they do. So they're comparing themselves with you and they realize they haven't grown. They're not growing. And they don't want to because it's work. So that's why they're having a hard time with your growth. Also, many times they be around people that if they start growing or trying to make some changes, the people around them will start pulling them back, trying to sabotage them because they don't want them to grow. Just like what we've experienced, Kingdom people, I had to learn this. I've seen it from experience, but being around people when you're growing and they're not growing, they don't like it. They get to lashing out. They be passive aggressive. The underhanded attacks, which is somewhat the same as passive aggressive, but sometimes just flat out lashing out, just not underhanded, just the point is, Kingdom people, they do that because they see you growing and they don't want you to grow. It makes them uncomfortable because they're not growing. They don't want to. So these people who may even want to grow, their concern is the people around them don't want them to. And they're codependent on those people. They want acceptance from those people. They want those people to be okay with their growth, but they don't understand, and maybe one day it will, that's just how this go. And you have to get away from those people and just grow if you really want to grow. Just like we had to do. We had to get away from people because we seen that our growth was irritating them. They were trying to sabotage, doing all their little stuff, even in the dark, in the back, underground, doing their little spells and rituals and all the stuff that they do. And so, Kingdom people, you have to many a time step away, step out to grow. Get away from people. Now, you can be around people that are growing also in some kind of way. Because those are the kind of people you're going to be able to get along with. Those are the people that resonate with you. See, part of the reason why people try to pull you back and try to stop you when you're growing, because you starting to no longer resonate with them, or they're starting to no longer resonate with you. But it's the same way for you. And what oftentimes happens is you remove yourself and you're no longer around initially because you got to get away. Now, because they start tripping, but I I've came to this point to where I don't even want to be around people that are not growing, because I already know they're going to be a problem. Furthermore, I don't resonate with them. It's nothing there. Also, people that I used to once deal with, that I had to remove myself from, even if it was some stuff, it's like, I'm not hanging on to that. I've let go. I have no issue with, with them anymore. Even if I had some kind of something I had to work through where they were concerned, I let it go. It's not, and I don't have any desire to be around them anymore. And it's not because I have a problem with them or I'm holding some kind of grudge. It's because I don't resonate with them. There's nothing there. Why isn't it anything there, Kingdom people? Because of growth. When you grow, that saying, how they say how you can outgrow people, that's a real thing. Some people are so far behind and complacent where they are, and that's no shade. It's just is what it is. See, we have to keep moving forward. We are on a journey, and we can't be held up by people that's held up, people that are bound. Bound people want you to be bound. They want company. They want you to hang out with them. And if you're not doing that, many times because you're just not able to, you're not that. That vexes your spirit being around certain kind of people. But the thing is, this kind of people, bound people like bound people. People who are stuck and complacent, they want others to be stuck and complacent. People who are free and growing want other people to be free and be growing. And we prefer to be around our kind. And they do too. Which is why they don't want you to grow. Which is why they have a hard time with your growth. They want you to stay around. These kind of people don't like to see you truly growing. Not truly, because they're not. People want to keep you where they are. Sometimes under where they are. But this is the thing, Kingdom people. They having a hard time with your growth because you growing. And they're not. And many of these people, look, you had the courage to grow. You had the courage to pop everybody up off of you that was trying to put them chains on you. See, they don't have the courage to do that. These people, they got to have their people. They choose people over God. See, you don't do that. They be wanting you to betray yourself to be around them. That's what they do. They betray themselves to keep the company that they keep, to stay where they are so everybody else can be comfortable. You didn't do that. You didn't betray yourself to choose them and stand right there. You didn't do that. And that's why they having a hard time with your growth, because you gone growing, and they still sitting right there with their people, going nowhere, doing nothing. And again, it just reflects back on them what they didn't do. Why do you think people get jealous? Because you're doing what they don't do. You have what they don't have, whatever the case may be. And many times it's just a matter of doing the work, not getting jealous. But what's the issue? They don't want to do that, or they didn't do that. Because sometimes it's a matter of the choices they already previously made. But people can always make a new choice. They don't want to. So that's why they don't want you to. Anyway, Kingdom people, listen. I just heard they want you to abandon yourself. They do. They be wanting you to abandon yourself and choose them. Choose no growth with them. And that, Kingdom people, is why they are having a hard time with your growth.